Hello, people. Hope we're all having a good Monday. Artson, I saw you. You're crazy for that, but thank you for the excitement. You know, it's good energy to have coming in on this last day of Pride Month, June 30th. Hope you've all been having a good time. Hope you had a good Pride Month. Hope you had a good weekend. You know, despite the world constantly falling apart at a rapid pace under a new authoritarian regime by the world's most military equipped power, things have been chill. Things have been chill. Just a vibe. How are you doing? Nothing gay happens to me at all month. Homophobic. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. I'm just trying to go live on the blue skies. Hold on. Swords and Fundraiser updates. There we go. Um, Perfection. Okay. But yeah, how's everyone been doing, man? I'm a little wiped, but woo, I've been chilling. I've been chilling. Just came back from work a little bit ago and hanging out. Since just a little bit to recalibrate myself. Hold on, let me show the face. Ma. You know, Sharpay and Evan, they didn't do everything right in that movie. They were ethically right in the first one. And so was their warm up routine. I recommend everyone use it. It's good for getting all the loose bits of yourself out and rigid it into place when you got to get turned on for the camera. Not like that. Not like that. Not like that. Let's just start talking. Like I said, today's stream gonna be quick. I started a bit later, had a bit of a longer day, but I still want to make sure I hopped on today to say thank you more than anything. That's the most important thing that I need to say to y'all today, because despite not having hit our goal, we got farther than I ever thought we were going to get. If I'm being completely honest with you, if I'm being completely transparent with you, for something that I decided to do on a whim and completely set up within like 2 to 3 hours of having come up with the idea, we did so much better than I was initially expecting. And that is completely and totally because of you guys. As I have just revealed, the fundraiser, as of today, assuming we don't have any last minute donations come in before all is said and done, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. You know, we still got 3 more hours before I will close. I'll probably leave it up until I wake up tomorrow morning, to be honest. But, like, you know, today's effectively the last day of the fundraiser. But look at that, dude. I mean, fuck. Excuse my French, but that's $500. We successfully raised $500 for the Trans Journalists Association. You should clap it up for yourselves. You should clap it up for the Trans Journalists Association. This is huge. I haven't checked it on the main website in a long time either, actually. So maybe they've hit their overall. They did hit their overall donation. Hell yeah! So like, dude, regardless, they hit their 10,000 donation goal for the month, regardless. So I mean, it was never depending on us anyway. You know what I mean? But, but this is phenomenal. This is really awesome. We are a part of this number. We are probably that extra. We're not that extra 500 or somewhere in the middle, or somewhere in that middle. But truly, this is more money than I think we've raised. Period. From the last time we did a charity drive, generally speaking. So y'all should be proud of yourselves. Regardless, we unlocked almost every single one of the goals. The only thing that we didn't unlock, because that would have been 750, was the Elden Ring 24-hour stream, which like is a little bittersweet, but at the same time, thank God. Thank God. Listen, I want to raise money for this wonderful cause, man. But 24 hours of Elden Ring, oh, I would have done it. Make no mistake, I would have done it because I promised it, and it's for a good cause. But golly, oh my God, the fear that I felt, because man, it was looking like we could hit it. It really was. I'm thinking we're gonna try and make this an annual thing around this time of year. Maybe not always for Transjournalists Association. Maybe it will be another organization that we can throw some money at. You can do that, but yeah, no, please keep. I understand the temptation to torment me, but please make sure you can go to school comfortably. But we did unlock all the other things. So the only one that we've done so far is a 4 hour, thank you, Marvel Rival stream, the workout punishment stream. We did that already. We're going to be doing a spaghetti taco pizza stream probably next week, the bacon cookie stream next week, but for sure on Friday. I think I've decided that Friday will be the 8-hour media stream since that requires less money and less setup. But because it's also going to be July 4th, it's going to be a holiday, a good opportunity to get as many people in here as possible if they don't have any plans. We'll be going long enough where if you do have plans, you're able to catch some of it before those plans, a little bit of after those plans. So we're going to go in. I'm going to, after this stream, put up a thread in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord yet, here it is. It's not big enough to have closed it off yet, so, but that's a Discord. I don't want to think that would be really a good reason to close it off unless people just start being very weird there, which has not happened in the years that I've had it up, so I'm not expecting that to be a thing. But I'm going to put up a thread in there and just drop videos in there. Whatever you want to watch, whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's an hour, we're going to be together for 8 hours watching videos, and we're going to have a good time. We're going to relax, we're going to keep things loose. We're going to chill. Maybe we'll even see if we can get a fun little mini game in there for us. Not literal game, but like a little mini game in there. But we're going to be together for 8 hours, watching stuff, yapping, talking. It's going to be a cool, relaxed, and chill time. So look forward to it. That'll be on Friday. But yeah, man, I'm just really proud, honestly. Which is a weird word to say because I'm not any of your parents, nor do I want to be. That wasn't meant to be a dig. I just don't want that responsibility of you on me. But, unless you lived under a rock, truly and utterly, the current administration, Trump and his gabagools, have been trying their damnedest to do nothing short of erase trans people, if we're being completely honest. They're trying to make it harder for them to even be in public. They're making it harder for them to get the necessary medical treatments that they need. They're doing everything that indicates that they are hoping trans people either have demonstrably worse lives or no lives at all. I don't think there's any other way to put it or to interpret what the current administration is doing when it comes to its treatment and conversation around trans people. So, with that in mind, I will reiterate the fact that the reason I thought it was important to support a cause like this, just at least from my personal background, because there were definitely other things that we could have done, and I suggest you checking out. This isn't something that you should just do for the month of Pride, even though it's a great time to elevate it. There's always things you can be doing of checking in on your trans friends, supporting them, checking in on mutual aid groups around you, seeing if there's other ways that you can assist besides monetarily, because, there's other ways that you can assist people that's not just giving money to a group, even though that's, always a great way to do things. There's tons of ways to give mutual aid that are not dependent on your financial backing. If you want to do like phone calls, if you want to work on like some kind of hotline, if you just want to teach classes of some sort, there's always something that you can do in your community in some way or another. Or you can do shit like I'm doing right now. This is something that I have the opportunity to do because, well, I'm not a huge streamer by any stretch of the imagination. There's literally only 4 of you in here. You are an awesome 4, and having just 4 of you that come in and out now and then, and the other people that always come in and out over the hours was enough to get us $500. So you can all do something that's within your abilities or capabilities, whatever that may be, to do a little something if you so please. And it's great. It's great what can happen when you just like try a little. Because that's all you're being asked of at the end of the day for most people. I know you want to... Go ahead. Get out of here. Go, nigga. You just gotta try. And so we did here. That was really cool, and this is just awesome. Genuinely, it's just really cool. And yeah, and I think that's pretty much it to say on that. Keep an eye on things while we're whatchamacallit, closing it out for the day, but that'll pretty much be it. When it comes to Transgenders Association, if you want to follow their work, I think what's their actual website look like again? If you want to, I want to look at that. Look, that's us right there, man. That's us right there. If you want to see some of their work in action, yep, it's just transjournalist.org. You can check out their style guide. You can check out the latest news. They had given up some advance notice of stuff for the unfortunate Scrimeti decision that happened recently. They did something else. We're talking about board of directors. Again, their style guide is a really great resource for newsrooms or anyone that just going to be doing any kind of reporting on trans people, trans narratives, and trans rights generally. It's a great style guide to check in on. So yeah, this is just a great resource, a great organization that I highly recommend checking out, even past the wonderful thing that we've done here today. So yeah, that's that for them. Any last words anyone wants to say about just like their own feelings about this? This is always an open space to like talk about those conversations, or save it for later. Honestly, I'm always gonna be around, until I'm not. But yeah, there we go. Whew, okay, now that we've got that discussed, I just fixed this. Course arts and carts. I'm glad that y'all felt like y'all were able to contribute and found a way to do so. Thank you again. You especially were putting into work. Let's not even like bullshit for a second. You especially were putting in a fuck ton of work over the last month in terms of just re-upping the link, donating yourself. So definitely give yourself extra claps in general. That let's definitely not let that be overseen. In what is going to be a very non-graceful transition, let's talk about hammers. Let's talk about hammers. You gotta talk about hammers. You gotta talk about hammers. I know that the big orange man is always talking about how he's going to hammer down on the trans community. He has such a big, beautiful hammer. He's such a big, beautiful hammer that's going to take such a big, beautiful chunk out of your health because it's going to ruin your health care and take away all the things that you barely have already. But this isn't that kind of hammer. We're not talking about that kind of big, beautiful hammer. We're talking about video game hammers that I'm starting to like. Recently, I've been on an emotional journey. I've been having an emotional journey. I used to consider myself a sword guy, as the beginning of my latest blog post says. And I didn't think it was a big part of my identity, but there's one of those little things that sneak up on you in a weird way. In the same way that you realize you're constantly going to the same restaurant, you're constantly ordering the same type of food, no matter what kind of cuisine you might be going to. If you have like a favorite type of cuisine, some people, they know for a fact that when they're going to, say, a Thai place, they're going to get pad Thai. Some people know that if they're going to a place that's like me, when I go to like Korean places, I know for a fact that I'm going to check if they got japchae. Like that's, you just start to build a thing where it's like, okay, no matter where I go, if I understand the general culture like thing going on, I know my reliable. And for me, for a long time, Neo City, how are you doing? That was swords when it came to games. Or it's even broad a bit, sharp pointy thing that makes slash sound. And that's just kind of been the meta for me for a long time. Not to say that I would ever not play around with other stuff, but swords are swords. Swords are cool. Several of the most iconic video game characters, generally speaking, have big ass swords or just swords generally. I'm of course thinking about I try to see Kingdom Hearts running on my laptop. I mean, you can try and see. You can certainly try. You can certainly try. But as I was saying, I try swords. Big slash, love it. Recently something is happening and I had to write about it. I wrote over 1,000 words about the fact that two games in particular have been making me think I might become a Hammer guy, which is a crazy thing to say. It's a crazy thing to say. I know it is. I know it is. I say it out loud. I've said it out loud multiple times, and it's still crazy to me. I dropped the link in the description if you want to go check that out, because I'm going to just be yapping about it pretty much for the next little while. And please tell me what your weapons of choice is, because like literally today's stream is very much like a yap stream. We're chatting, we're cooling, we're having a good time. Because I'm not going to be here for long. I'm like literally going to head out around like 10:30 my time. But here's the two games in question. The first one is the one that you see that has this lovely pixel art. I'm actually going to go to the main page from whatchamacallit on duplicate this tab from Yacht Club Games. If you don't know who Yacht Club Games are, they're the people behind Shovel Knight, a game that I have still not had the chance to play, but I know is awesome from everyone that's just like loved it to death. I've watched Brother Man Zozar play on his channel several times. And if it's anything like me and a Hollower was, I understand why people have the hype. Even when just from like 30 to 45 minutes that I had with this demo during this last Steam Next Fest, I had a blast, even though for about, I want to say, 15 to 20 of those minutes, I was getting my ass kicked. Horribly. Like many games, me and the Hollower started with an age-old decision of choosing a weapon to take on some beast that just completely ruined your day, right? Like that's just, how it started. And I know it started with like, gave me, I believe, a dagger, potentially a flail, I think is what the correct term for it was. One of those things where you got the hilt, you got like little chain stuff, and then you got the spiky or big ball thing at the end that's gonna bash someone's head in and maybe leave a few indents in the process. And then the hammer. Originally, I was just going to go for the sharp pointing thing, as has been my thing to do. But then I saw the hammer, I liked the way it looked. I was feeling the vibes, like the game in general is just not a genre that I spend a whole lot of time in, or just at least even like an aesthetic. Like, I love my like 2D pixel games and all that, but this is like, Yacht Club Games, what did I say, prides itself on the fact that it is trying to capture the feeling and aesthetic of like old video games, old Nintendo style video games specifically, but like modernized to meet current gamer taste, but like still bridging the two of them together so that you're not really sacrificing the difficulty or even like the control scheme of like what that time was like, as well as still holding that aesthetic. Enough different things were going on where I see that hammer, I read its description, I see that it lets you roll while you have that hammer, and I'm like, damn, man, it's a demo. I'm not about to prepare myself for a multi-hour campaign or nothing. Maybe I try a hammer. And that's what I did. And for like a solid 5-10 minutes, I regretted it. I regretted it terribly. I'm not gonna lie to you. Do you know how demoralizing it is to die more than once to the first enemy you see? I really want you to think about this for a second. Do you know how demoralizing it is to lose to the first thing you face in a video game that is not something you're meant to lose to? That's what happened to me while using that hammer. And immediately all the prejudice that I knew I had against hammers was coming to the surface. Because you got to understand, my biggest qualm with hammers for the longest time is that, yes, they do big damage, but big swings also mean bigger opportunities for more opportunistic, oh my god, the best viewers, we always love the best viewers, but we already have them here, we already know that, more opportunistic enemies to take a chunk out your health. I say that exact line in the article, by the way. If you read it already, you'll know. But even like outside of like that example, like if you even want to think about, for example, what I think about often, this is such a straight example, but if you remember the video game Chivalry, it was huge with YouTubers. I even played a little bit myself when I finally got a computer that could run it. Chivalry is a game where you could pick up any single like character class, but it was usually reminiscent of what age and time it was. So there was a pirate class that like had weapons for pirates. There was like a knight class with like sword and hammer, or not sword and hammer, it was like sword, shield. Pirate class came with like a cutlass and like, you know, actual gun, like a pistol. And there was also like a hammer and stuff. Like there were like it had different class types. And something I always remember about that game was that they tried very hard to translate the speed of those weapons, meaning that when you're carrying a big ass hammer, you're all this time. That's too much. That's too much. That's too much. You get one person that understands even a little bit how much time it's taking you to hold up that weapon and slam it down. In my mind, I'm like, you're dead already before you can even get the full swing off. You're dropping the hammer in this position, and now you're just dying like this, and that's just embarrassing. That's how I would feel with hammers for a long time. And just generally, they slow down movement in games. A lot of times when people, when you look at games, even when you're like looking at stuff like the Bethesda's games, for example, or whatever, like RPG games in general that have like third person action, they try to translate the heaviness of an item by slowing you down. When you're charging it up or you're getting ready to do your swing, it slows you down, and it's just like, I'm not gonna say it breaks up like the pacing of the game, because like people have loved hammers well before I have, and that's something that they preferred. But for me, who likes things to kind of keep the momentum as I'm going, and more honestly makes very ambitious combat decisions that make having a build in which you can quickly roll out of something or dodge something quickly beneficial. Hammers and me, big weapons like hammers, just did not seem like a good match. It doesn't seem like a good match for a very long time. But then I tried meeting the Hollower. And even though those opening minutes were very rough, once I finally figured out what was good, once I got a hang of that roll mechanic, oh, oh, I get it. I started to get it. My brain was like, dude, going bam is awesome. Dude, I love how loud this is. I'm loving just like there's just so much power behind that swing that when you let it actually connect and when you feel it connect and when you learn the timing to actually make sure that you're consistently connecting with your enemies, it is just wow. It's just like wow. Because with swords, the super cool thing about swords is that they're all about finesse. They're all about the fact that I'm so graceful, I'm so fast, I'm so trained or full of potential and understand my weapon so well that I can literally walk past you. You can go try and grab a sandwich to eat, and then somehow in the middle of you picking up your sandwich, your hand falls off. No one knows how it happened. No one knows why it happened until the dude sheaves his sword, and all of a sudden the rest of your body falls off with your hand. Like swords are all about almost frictionless defeat. Just being so masterclass in what you do that you don't even need to like think about it. It becomes instinct. It becomes what your body is used for. And that's cool. It's really cool. But the vibe of the hammer, of truly connecting with the thing that you have just pounded into the ground, oh man, I get it now. I get it. I do. I really do. And me and the Hollower was huge for that. It was also just a great demo, like generally. Music was cool. Art was phenomenal. I'll play the, I'm actually going to play that, what's it called? Trailer in the background real quick. We'll actually open up on YouTube. Why not? Does that look correct? No. Yes. Whatever. Gonna quiet this down a little bit. But like, it just looks good too. There's that hammer. There's my hammer, man. It was a cool little vibe. And like, I'll give the game the credit for like kind of putting me on. Really, it's been like super fun. But that was just the one game, right? That was just one game. And as I said in the article, any good detective story or TV show featuring a bunch of FBI characters or any three-letter acronymed U.S. agency You can't call something a pattern until it happens twice. You gotta wait for it to happen twice. And the hammer struck twice when, as some of you have already seen me do or played, it struck twice with Lost and Random Eternal Die. A game that I did already check out a little bit, the demo of, began earlier this year, much earlier this year, but the full release came out. I got a key for it, fortunately, been playing it on the stream, and I've been having a great time with it. Genuinely, I've been loving like playing it. I'm loving the runs. The cast is full of personality. The game is fast paced, but most importantly, in contrast to the demo only lets you play with a sword. It only gave you a sword, and then like I'm not sure if it gave you all of the upgradables the sword could have, but like it's fire stuff and like it's like other not parry things. I forget what the other parts of the sword thing was. My only was given one, but the game obviously gives you the full kibosh, right? So it gives you 4 weapons. It gives me the sword. It gives me a bow and arrow. It gives you that spear that you just saw, and it gives me the hammer. And the hammer in this game, look at it right there. Look at it right there. It's just the energy around it. It's pow. Like it's just visceral, man. It helps that this game is very pretty. Like this is a very like visually appealing game. Like it always has been. It's one of the first things that grabbed me about it. But in its case, it was just like that on top of the fact that the hammer is still not slowing anything down. Like it's got less swings in the amount of time, but it still feels good to use, and it's multifaceted depending on the way that you upgrade it. And it's just when you hit 3 enemies at one time with one big swing, and then just use a charge attack to continue knocking them back, and then throw your dice for a little bit of a 3, and you roll a 6 instead. It's magical. It's magical. So, kind of like hammers now. I don't know if I'm going to become a hammer guy. Yet. Jury's still out. Gotta play one more game, probably, that has the option of a hammer. I'm not gonna be in any rush, because it's gonna be a big thing for me. It's gonna be big for me. But I am being told, sources have told me, that the hammer in Monster Hunter feels good. That's what the sources are telling me. I've not played Monster Hunter before. Has anyone here played Monster Hunter before, actually? There's a whole franchise that, like, I have a feeling that I probably would like, but I just have not gotten to. Yeah, man. Hammers. They're beautiful. They're wonderful. And I'm going to be using more of them. I am also now going to try my best. Play a demo on the 3DS, I think. That is a very weird pull, but excited. Must have left an impression. Oh, the camera's already dying? That's okay. I also am going to try my best to now name weapons by just like the noises that I think they make, because the amount of fun I had writing down the words bam versus swing is almost an embarrassing amount. It's just a much more fun way to say than to say swords versus like hammers, or even just to generalize that kind of weapon. But yeah, man. And it's just been great. It was just great. I'm going to switch this out. But as I switch this out, y'all tell me. First of all, do you guys even like hammers in video games? Like, is this, it's like, when I posted this on Blue Sky, I got to pull up the post. Because I posted it on Blue Sky. I'll tell you right now, one of the responses was someone saying I was the first hammer guy that they heard, which was crazy because they didn't even say I was a hammer guy yet. But say that even my potential indoctrination into the hammer club was still like the first time I ever seen someone showing love for it was interesting to me. You said you need quick movement. See, that's exactly why I like swords usually, because I value that quick movement more often than not. But it's funny that you said you just hate them. You said no, I hate them. Let me see if I can pull up that particular post. Yeah, this was very funny to me. You might be the first hammer guy I met. I've always been a spear guy whenever possible, less a finesse player than a stay the hell away from me player, which is like so real, so real. Also real as hell from Artemis. If you don't know who Artemis is, they run Stop Caring. You should go read her stuff. It is phenomenal. It's about throwing spears, and this was probably this whole article I wrote was pretty much worth it just for this single interaction. Important question: how do we feel about throwing spears? I reject them. A glorified bow and arrow. True spear combat keeps the pointy stick in your hands. Respect. Like it's amazing. It's amazing. It's an amazing interaction, and I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. You want to make sure you feel your enemy get punctured, man. That's the whole shebang. You got to make sure you feel the kibosh. Um, and that just made my day. That made my day. Tears of the Kingdom long stick was peak spear combat. You're not wrong. Tears of the Kingdom, honestly, probably the most fun I've had using any kind of spear type weapon. Period. Just like that fast jab that it has is just like very satisfying. So big credit to Tears of the Kingdom for that, among many other things that are good about that game. Um, but yeah, I can't think of too many other video game weapons that I feel like I gravitate towards that aren't like just unique to the game. Like even as I talk about being a hammer person, kind of, um, my favorite weapon in the video game is still going to be keyblades. Not even just because I'm Kingdom Hearts pilled to death, but like keyblades in and of themselves are just very cool weapons. I like the idea of them. I like the way I've always liked the choose your user idea behind like weapons having, if not sentient personalities, energies that they are naturally attracted to. I've always liked that keyblades morph themselves around the user, which always leverages itself to be very like unique to each person and share a little bit about their personality. Um, just leveraging itself to a lot of beautiful designs. But I'm trying to think about any. Are there any of your like? Does anyone else have games that they think of? They're like, damn, I love that weapon specifically. And I put it together myself. I watched this guy play, and he instantly made a long stick attached to his stick, and I was jealous. Understandable, understandable. I'm trying to think if there's any other weapons that I like really, really like in games usually, because it really might just have been like swords, hammers. Um, I mean, bows and arrow. It really depends on the game. Like bow and arrows in concept are great to play with in games. Um, and I am especially thinking about it now, even with like having. I still need to get back to it because it's been months now. But like when I was heavily playing the 2013 or technically the 2014 re-release of Tomb Raider, had Lara Croft doing her big one, and by big one I mean causing mass murder. So like that was fun. Um, Even the bow and arrow in Lost and Random Eternal Die feels good. It makes you play in a very different way, and like making sure you maintain distance from enemies. That I can see being useful for certain boss fights, or at least in certain sections of boss fights. That's the thing. It always comes a little bit with a caveat of like certain things work better for other moments in boss fights than others do. Um, but I will never. I don't think I would ever call myself a bow and arrow person. I just think it's like, oh my god, bow and arrow. How quirky. Like it's not. I don't think I make it a personality trait. Big Nintendo girly, understandable, understandable. I mean, like technically speaking, Cappy from Super Mario Odyssey could count as like a top 10 weapon. I don't think that's a hot take. You literally throw Big Brother at a bunch of Goombas and other ne'er do well things, and when it's not, causing what has to be the scariest body takeover in your entire life. Like, dude, how terrifying is it just to have a plumber inside you? Genuinely, I that's just terrifying. It's terrifying. It's terrifying. Like, I like just Super Mario Odyssey is body horror. I'm sorry. I think I've just decided that I don't think. Oh, that's not a fresh take? Because if it is, I'm totally gonna write about that. But like, hold on. I'm just typing Super Mario Odyssey body horror right now. Okay, well, no, see, now this is, first of all, go get this the fuck out my face. I did not know that people were also already calling Mario. I mean, yes, it is a horror movie, but I don't know it's this big. Hold on, now we're in a different rabbit hole. Why does Mario's body disappear when Cappy controls another key? This cannot be explained to Mario and Cappy are two separate entities. The truth is Mario died at the beginning of the game. Cappy has absorbed not just Mario's old hat, but also Mario's dead body. The whole game is about how Cappy materializes. First of all, seeing that this was 8 years ago was a flashbang I did not need in my life. But the whole game is about how Cappy materializes Mario and finishes what he wants to do. The materialized body will disappear. Wow. Okay. That is not. This has 10 upvotes. Dude, this is not even like at all where I was going with this as like Super Mario Odyssey being body horror, but like I'm not mad at this. This is like kind of like Matt Pat, please no. What about the sections of the game? See, that's the beautiful thing about Reddit too, because someone can say the dumbest thing ever, and someone will give the most serious reply. And then what's this? This is just list of death. Okay, Super Mario Odyssey is a horror movie. Is a Smosh parody. Wait a minute. I did not know this was a Smosh parody. They already did this. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Is that real? No, that just. Oh wait, no, that was. Wait, why did I have a different name attached to it before? I did not know they did this. I've been watching a lot of Smosh within like the last couple of like months, to a part where they've started to become part of like just in the watch routine. This is crazy. I did not know this was a thing they did.
Now, why the hell did you buy a fidget spinner with blades?
Normal spinning doesn't do it for me anymore, man. I need a bigger fidget brush.
Weird.
God, they all look so fucking different. I don't. God. Dude, this is like, oh my god, 2017 really was 8 years ago. Every single one of these people look different now. Not like unrecognizable or anything like that, but it's like, oh my god, 8 years will really change your face. Like, it's still your face, but like, you know, we're not gonna watch this whole thing. It's 5 minutes, maybe we will.
Whoa! He just flipped us off, man! I am so offended by hand gestures. That's it. Your overall suck, man!
I would have paid real money to watch them run over Damien. I don't have hate for Damien. I like Damien a lot. He's hilarious. But oh my god. One of these days, actually not one of these days, there's already multiple YouTubers that will run you over for free. What am I talking about? This is YouTube. If I said to someone right now, a YouTuber, that I would subscribe to their channel if they let themselves get hit by a car, there's someone that would do it. And the funny thing is, I'm not going to subscribe to them afterwards. I don't want to be part of that. I don't want to be this catalyst for that change.
Stop the car! Stop the car! Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Are you okay?
The fidget spinner still going is crazy.
You're gonna die! Help! 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 Noah, what's wrong?
Hold on, what happened to that Mario-looking dude? It's a me.
Dude, oh my god. The shadow for a second made me think they turned him black. Oh my god, that was so bad. I was so confused. I was so confused. I was like, wait a minute, what just happened? I was so confused. I was so confused.
Oh, damn, he just double spun.
Fidget speeds like that, it can be deadly.
No! I'm going to kill all of you.
It's actually it's kind of crazy how much of a time capsule Smosh is when you just think about, not even just only YouTube, because obviously, like, you know, Ian and Anthony have been around in YouTube for like forever and a day now. But just like the fact that when you're a comedy channel in general. I don't think that's Smash's target audience. To be fair though, this kind of content is like so different from how they are now. Like it's not completely divorced. Like you can see, as someone who does like watch them now, I can very much easily see the through line of how they started with this and got to where they are now, where it's like they still have like a lot of bits and they still like have a certain like not campy energy to them, but like a they're performing. They're definitely like, yeah, we're going 110 with this. I'm not sure I would say that this is like I'm not saying they have two different audiences from 8 years ago, but I feel like they kind of do. Because like even when you look at what they do recently, maybe I'll save just coming back and just saying fuck that guy is very funny. But the point I wanted to make was even now when you look at the stuff, the Spud Hut thing that they recently did, which was that their whole improv, basically sitcom, which was fun. They have Bit City that Angela and Chance host. Yeah, like this, and then like also just their other channels are also massively successful at this point. Um, like Smosh Pit where they do the TNTL stuff and like the Reddit stories that are like more reliable than God. And then the Smosh games, which people also love. Like they've just really branched out a lot of their stuff, I think. At least from like what I think. If you told me what the Smosh do 10 years ago, I'm not actually sure I would have been able to tell you because I was very bad at understanding YouTube 10 years ago. But I would definitely not have predicted this turn heel that they've recently, not recently, because they've like basically been having a really good run of things for like the last 3 to 5 years. I want to say I've been watching them consistently for 3 to 5 years, but like as once you start liking a group, you start watching a lot of their old content. It feels like the vibe shift that they have now has been around for like the last 3, 4, 5-ish years at this point that they've been really like going with it. I don't know how long it's been when Anthony finally came back from his hiatus or quitting or whatever it was. Yeah. This was a very big tangent from talking about hammers. I don't know how that happened, but yeah, man. I think Super Mario Odyssey is officially body horror, which is great. It's awesome. I'm gonna be thinking about that all night. Maybe I will write about that later. Because it seems like the angle that I feel like people are not getting, but I think this Smosh Kid actually got surprisingly close to what I had in mind. Was like it is truly a terrifying prospect to just be walking around one day and then some random big mustachioed man puts a hat on your head, and what is it like? Like, you know what it is? Oh my god, I can't believe I'm about to actually say this right now. I cannot believe this is about to leave my mouth. But it's like that. There's a very specific panel in the Walking Dead comic where they talk a lot about, or someone's doing like basically a mind fuck about like, okay, listen, I know they're zombies and we're like killing them and whatever, but like, what do you think is going on? Like, do you think there's still a little bit of the person left in the zombie? Is it just an empty husk? Like, they have a very serious existential question about like, is even killing zombies really ethical? Which like, it's not something that I like really bought into at that time, and I still don't, because at the end of the day, it's like the biggest and easiest answer when it comes to zombies is that at least in the early stages of like apocalyptic know-how, you're in not just survival mode but explicitly self-defense mode. It'd be one thing if it's just like a disease where you turn into a zombie and then like you just kind of like decay fast and you're walking around, but you're not really attacking. Most, not most, but a lot of zombie movies, you know, zombies are explicitly aggro. Like they see you, they're coming after you. Like that's you in most cases have a very explicit self-defense case when it comes to dealing with zombies. But they were trying to have this whole conversation about being like, okay, but like, what if there is still a part of that person in the zombie? What if there is like, what if it is just an immense, almost eternal torture of, oh, waiting until there's a day where you come to be your old self, or someone finds a cure and turns you into your old self, or is it just going to be eternal torture where you're constantly watching yourself, feeling yourself, tasting yourself do all these things to living human beings, and that's a terrifying prospect in and of itself. And I'm like, okay, is that what Super Mario Odyssey kind of is? Is Super Mario Odyssey like, is what's going on when someone gets possessed by Mario? That's the question I feel like I am now having, and I'm going to be thinking about for longer than I'd like to. I probably should write this down somewhere. I'm so sorry, yo. I feel like I just got into a very grotesque topic out of nowhere. Hold on. Super Mario Odyssey body horror Walking Dead scene about if zombies have conscience, if that's like the best way to put it. I don't know, man. Mario's crazy. Mario's crazy for doing that to all those people. He's a little bit of a crazy dude for all that. Yeah, TLDR hammers are cool. TLDR hammers are cool. Yeah, I think that's a good place for that conversation to end. I'm not thinking as much else. If you know, I'll give the usual shout out. If you want the blog post to be just directly in your inbox and not for me to have to show it off, just type in your email. It's free. It'll likely always be free, at least when it comes to this blog. You can follow me on Blue Sky because that's where I spend a super majority of any time I spend on social media. It's where I post all my links, and I do on Instagram too. I just don't like using Meta products anymore, so I like use it very begrudgingly. I do need to reamp the YouTube and just kind of start putting stuff out there again, and worry about finesse with it a little bit later. But yeah, that pretty much is what everything that's going on over here. I'm trying to think if there's any other last things to talk about for the last 10 minutes. Any like video game trailers coming out? Anything that's coming out soon? Hold on, that's actually a good thing to end off on. You got any things to look out for? There we go. I was trying to type in Game Informer. Yeah, 2025 Game Informer list. Again, dude, the best thing that came from Game Informer coming back from the dead, besides like, you know, not a fuck ton of people losing their job and being in limbo forever, is this release schedule. And like, you know, good video game coverage. So a lot of stuff came out in June. Obviously I did not play all of it or most of it. I did play FBC. I did play this a little bit. I played Eternal Die, obviously. I've been really liking it. I'm playing this right now, actually. I'm playing for a separate reason that you will definitely see more about in the future. I won't reveal too much about that. But this has been fun. This game specifically, it's not yeah, this has been fun. This has been a fun game. Official website. Yeah, the mechs and stuff. It's in early access right now, but like bones are strong. They're eating their calcium or whatever it is. Rematch. I love Rematch. I just need to actually buy it. Death Stranding 2 came out. and people seem to really like it. Although interestingly enough, the thing that I can't stop thinking about now since it came out was the fact that I'm not sure there. It's not that there was no woman that reviewed it because that's just not true, but none of the major video game outlets had a woman review a game that very explicitly seemed to be like mother, oh my god, like very mother toned and themes around like having a child, what that means to have that connection. Like it just like the vibes were interesting around who got to review that game in the sense of like it's always who gets to review these games, but then a noticeable lack of the people that should be getting a bit more face time. Tamagotchi Plaza. Oh no, that's not. I thought it was Tomodachi World for a second. Okay, so then looking forward in July, what do we got going on? I think the thing I'm really looking forward to in July is wait, Duranko Wonko is coming out to the Switch. You remember when we played this game, y'all? That was a trip. Oh god, it's Wildgate. I played Wildgate on stream. I played the beta. It was the only time I played Wildgate at all. Too was during that one stream, and it left such an impression on me that I was like, yeah, I need to play this when it comes out. Like it is doing something so interesting to me. It not even in like the particular because like the premise is honestly like pretty straightforward. It's space pirates. You're space pirates chasing after the same loot, and they just decided to make sure that they went all in on that concept. Like you're controlling the ship, you're having to not only deal with other players in space, but with other hazards in space. There's things to actually explore. Like it's not that the premise of that game is like particularly unique in that say. Like we don't see space pirates all the time in games. Like we see space pirate adjacent things. I'd almost argue that like the game that you're showing to the left, Borderlands, has a bit of like a space pirate energy to it in terms of how pop culture has thought about pirates due to things like Pirates of the Caribbean and Treasure Island. But Wildgate explicitly has a very strong, I think, understanding of what space actually means. That it translates in such an interesting way that I think will be fun to see over the long run on how people feel about like the pacing of a match because of the explicit amount of space that this game gives you in a very like literal sense. So I think that's the one I am looking forward to most, just off of what I played. Off of vibes though, not a bunch else is jumping out here. I know Donkey Kong Bonanza is coming out, but I don't have a Switch 2, so that's just gonna be me watching other people play it, which will be fun still. But like I'm not gonna have it. So the Tony Hawk Pro Skater stuff comes out. I know the Tony Hawk fans will probably be crying over that in a good way. I'm not trying to speak out crazy about y'all. I just know how y'all get about your Tony. I don't think there's anything else really that's like deeply speaking out to me. I know sports, college football will be big for people, for that crowd. This title, The King's Watching, is sticking out to me for some reason. Maybe it's just because that's a good name. I don't know. But have I seen this somewhere before? Oh God, don't look at me like that, dude. Ew. I'll I'm gonna look out for you just so you don't come after me. Yeah. Grounded 2, I mean playing with coworkers, but I don't know. Is Grounded 2 coming out in July? Oh, it is. Oh, okay. Well, tell me how that is. I'm still not playing Microsoft games because of the boycott. So, like, if I ever play Grounded 2, it'll be, like, far into the future, probably. But if you do end up checking it out, hit me up in the Discord. I'll still be curious how it goes. I'll listen to a little review and probably just won't be talking about it on stream. And then going into August, Disco Elysium comes to the Android, comes to the mobile. When this news first hit, I felt very negatively about it. And I'll be honest, I still don't feel positively about it. I still don't really like the fact that they're trying to put Disco Elysium on mobile. But I do understand the appeal of it. Like someone made a good point about like, there's no more popular video game console than You want to die? I love Disco Elysium. I love Disco Elysium. I may have to patient get through it. I mean, if you bounced off of it, you might just not like the game, which is like perfectly valid. If you don't, I think it's one of the best games ever. But like, I also am an avid reader, love murder mysteries, which that game very explicitly is, and love anything that will do a deep examination of the human soul's response to grief and failure and constant failure and misery. like, that game is doing so much on so many on like several levels in terms of its writing, its presentation, its pacing, its approach to letting you fail forward, but not in like a oh my god you're a winner, but in like a you will live with your decisions way. I love that game. I do. But it's a game that I feel like just not. I'm not gonna say it doesn't translate well to mobile because it's not out yet. It's not out yet at the end of the day. But as the game was presented and as it exists and the ease in which you can play it right now, I feel like more of the decision making behind putting on a mobile has to do with monetary incentive than like wanting to see how people do with playing this game on mobile, because it is like yes, you can still play the game. like not only that, but like Disco Elysium is a game that runs very well on like pretty much any machine that's literally just not a potato. Like I played it on my last Mac, I can play it on my current Mac. I don't think you need a gaming computer or the best top of the line thing to play it. Like it's genuinely a game that like is not system intensive at all. So I just think trying to put it on a mobile phone, I can understand the logic of like, okay, again, mobile phones are, whether people like to admit or not, the most popular video game console, right? Like, and just in terms of like raw numbers, everyone has a phone to an extent, right? Or like you can have access to a phone. But the problem is, phones are very, very distracting. They're incredibly distracting. Most mobile games are meant to have like short amount of buy-in, and because they understand they're competing with everything else that's on a phone, like phone calls, text messages, social media being probably the biggest thing, they create incentives for you to come back with like whether it be like, the timed release things or like the dailies. There's a reason that mobile games, those popular mobile games, exist the way they do. And a game like Disco Elysium, that I truly don't think is a game that you can just dive in and out of for like 10, 15, 20 minutes at a time. Like, if you're going to sit down and play Disco Elysium, no, I'm not saying you need to set aside an entire evening, but like, dude, you should be playing that game. Like, if you're going to have one little session, 30 minutes to an hour is like, you could spend doing all that time just in like one building, if not one room in that game, depending on how long you want to like actually read or like take in what you're looking at. And people read on their phones all the time, so again, I don't want to be dismissive of that in that sense, but just the way phones are built are not meant to make sure you are fully engaged with the thing that you are currently doing all the time, unless you take that intentional step to make that happen. And I don't see Disco Elysium being the thing that does that. And I'll eat my words if that ends up being the case, but it's just like, What'd you say here? It's just so much about stuff I didn't understand with the emotions or whatever because I don't want to read that much because it was too combusting. Yes, because I was too dumb for the game. But no, but like that, like people have said multiple times that Disco Elysium, because of how reading heavy it is, they like bounced off of it a bit, which I get. Like if you don't want to read while playing a video game, I can't suggest Disco Elysium to you. I think you're missing out on a lot if you don't. But like, who the fuck am I? This is like at the end of the day, it's still just my personal opinion. I think it's worthwhile to try and get past that personal bias of yours, obviously. But like, if you know that you play that you want to play a specific type of video game, it's just the mechanics in a weird voice. Oh, you don't like the narrator? Oh, that's a shame. You should try playing the game without the narrator. The game first released without voice acting, if I remember correctly, and then the final cut released. I played the final cut first before I played the version of the game before the final cut. So I played it with the voices already being there. But it first came out without being voices, so you could play that game without hearing people talk and like be completely fine. And I do think the beginning can be a little disorienting because you are having to learn the world. Why am I not focusing? in the same way Harry is, because Harry literally has amnesia. And the way the game starts, it's not like trying to be kind to you in the way it starts. It's like, hey, fuck up, wake up. You need to go realize all the things that you burned down in trying to memory hole yourself and successfully memory holing yourself. So like I understand why it feels like a lot being thrown at you. But different type of personalities are rolling to do certain actions. Yeah, because it's like still like a very much like a dice roll game in that sense. With all the competing, try again in like a month or so. Yeah, I always will say like if you think like you're not completely done with it, try it. Try and sit with it for like a while. Try and meet King Kutaragi. If you can just get to King Kutaragi or Kuno, the little shit, and you start really liking the characters there, I think it's gonna go swimmingly for you. But that's just my personal opinion. Okay, it's 10:33 actually, so this will officially be it. Again, thank you guys for the fundraiser. I will keep things updated. I'm going to drop a link or a thread in the Discord with the intention of you adding anything you want to watch for the 8-hour media stream that I'm tentatively but hoping to further confirm will be for Friday. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be great. Pat yourselves on the back, please. Sincerely, you guys did an amazing job with this fundraiser. And yeah, until next time, I will see y'all later. Ciao.